So the next element that we're going to add to the game is the shooting of our bullets. And you can see here we have a bullet for player 1 and we have a bullet for player 2. And so the way that we're going to implement the bullets, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that start game variable. And the way we're going to implement the bullets is we're going to click on the bullets and we're going to use a clone. Okay, and if you've never used a clone before, the way that this works is we go to events and we set the clone to hide on the green, we set the bullet to hide on the green flag, so the original bullet is not on the screen, and we want to clone the bullet when there is an event. And so for player 1, the event is going to be pressing the spacebar. So if the spacebar key is pressed, and I'm going to use the same movement algorithm for player 1 to make the bullets shoot out. And what was that? That was an if statement. I'm sorry, not if. It's going to be repeat until not pressed. So I'm going to go to the not operator, go to sensing, and here we have key pressed. So I'm going to put that in here, right? Space, space. And what am I going to do until they let go of the space bar? I am going to go to control and say create a clone of myself. Okay. So what does that do? That creates a copy of the bullet. And then you need to program when I start as clone, what do you want the program to do? Right? So when I start as clone, I'm going to go to looks and I'm going to say show. Right? Because the original is hidden, which means when I create a clone of myself, the clone is also hidden because he's a copy of the original. So when I start as clone, I want to show. But I guess before I show, I also want to go to where the player 1 is. So I go to motion, and luckily I have this cool little block here that says go to, not random position, but I'm going to go to player 1. I'm going to show, and I am going to fire out. So I'm going to say repeat until, and then under sensing I'm going to get touching, and then click here and get edge. Okay, so it's going to repeat until touching edge. And what do I want the bullet to do? I want it to shoot to the right. So I'm going to say motion change X by 10, which is going to move the bullet towards the right side of the screen. If I said change X by -10, it would move the bullet towards the left side of the screen. And let's go ahead and see if that works here, right? So I'm going to press the space bar, and there you go, right? I have got bullets, okay? But if you notice here, it only let me shoot a couple of bullets, all right? Let's say 50 to 100 bullets. And the reason for that is that there is a limit on the number of clones that you can create here in Scratch, right? So what we want to do is this is going to repeat until the bullet is touching the edge. It's going to keep moving towards the right. And when it finishes this repeat until, that means the bullet is touching the right side of the screen. And so what I need to do is go to control and say delete this clone if he's touching the edge. Okay. So that way this player can fire as many bullets as he wants because it will not reach its limit. Right? So if you do that, right, and it won't reach its limit because it is disappearing when it hits the right side of the screen because we are deleting the clone. Okay, and so that's how we get bullets on the screen. Now why don't you go ahead and make that happen for player 2.